Good afternoon and welcome to our latest webinar, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly of Generative AI in B2B Sales. Hot topic, as always, is AI, and I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew Davis, who is founder at Talk Digital, a leading digital and social agency who have a key specialism in demystifying AI in business. And Andrew, you're also the leading voice of the AI in a Nutshell podcast, where you post daily insights on trends in AI and what we can do to leverage that in our roles. And I understand that that's part of what keeps you really current because you're talking about it every single day. Andrew's also a keynote speaker, and he provides AI intelligence and training for brands, including KPMG, Intuit, Mega, Cencora, and of course, FIFA. So a real range there. And today we're going to be talking about, AI is big, but we're going to be specifically talking about generative AI and how, as B2B salespeople, we can leverage that to become more effective in our roles. So I'm going to get straight into it. As a salesperson, it depends what industry I'm in as to how tech savvy I'm going to be, how much technology I already use. But I want to get into the AI space. I want to stay current. I want to maximize this. Where is the best place for me to start?
Okay, so hi, everybody. It's a great question, because that is a question I get quite a lot. This sounds great, but where do I even begin? So what I'm going to do is, I'm not just going to talk, I'm going to make this quite visual as well for people to see. So I'm just going to share my screen.
Perfect.
So, and I'm going to, because I've worked with a lot of salespeople before, there's kind of like, there's 5 areas of sales and AI that I want to kind of cover. If we can get to them, great. But the first one, where to start? Now, when it comes to where to start, I've always said, don't reinvent the wheel. What is sales? What are the core fundamentals of sales? And then put an AI lens across it. We don't need to learn AI sales. It's not a new thing. It still goes down to, there's a customer who potentially needs a product. I've got the product. Let's meet, let's negotiate, let's sell. And then aftercare. That will always be the same. So what does AI look like in this new world? Now, when it comes to starting point, where do we start? I always say go to the large language models first. If there was one tool to use, that's going to be a large language model. So if you don't know what a large language model is, it's ChatGPT, it's Copilot, it's Claude, it's Gemini. The tools that are very multimodal or you can do many different things with them. Now, what you're going to find is that when you're using AI, and I'm assuming most of you've used the likes of any of these platforms before. Some of you might be from a testing point of view, some might use it weekly, some might be using it daily. If you really think about how you go about using these platforms, I would say 95%, and that's being quite conservative, but 95% of what you do falls in one of these 8 buckets. So where to start is, first off, knowing these 8 buckets, which I'm about to share with you, and then being comfortable in doing well in those 8 buckets and how it links to sales. So what are those 8 buckets? The first is you can use AI to generate content. That could be, write me a short follow-up message after a demo that reinforces how identifying anonymous website visitors helps construction and manufacturing companies win more profits. It could be something like that. It could be a tweet, or you could create a whole application, but you're generating content. That's one thing that you're going to be using it for. Another thing is analyzing. This is quite important, especially I've noticed in the world of B2B. Analyze the last 20 call notes and summarize the most common objectives from commercial real estates and manufacturing prospects. So what are some of the challenges that we've got from the last 20 calls? You're analyzing information. Another is summarizing. Summarize this sales meeting into 3 key takeaways and 2 follow-up action tailored for a construction project. So summarizing, I do this quite a lot, actually. If let's say I'm listening to a podcast, I don't want to listen to Diary of a CEO when it's a 3-hour episode. be some good insights, but I don't necessarily want to listen to it. However, I will summarize it and give me some action points afterwards. Another is reformatting. So when I talk about reformatting, it's taking one piece of content and putting it into another form of content. So turn this LinkedIn post about lead tracking into a 2-minute in-mail message, 2-line in-mail message aimed at operations directors in the machinery sector, something like that. How can I take this that you created or someone else has created that you actually quite like and turn it into something that's relevant to you?
Yeah.
Another one is using it for ideas. Generate 10 creative outreach ideas to re-engage manufacturing and real estate prospects who's gone cold. Now, personally, I actually think when it comes to idea generation, it's better if you give the idea first and then it works on that idea. But you can use it both ways. But I actually find it better at helping you with your idea rather than coming up with an idea. Asking questions. How do I use PowerPoint to make my sales presentation more engaging for whatever industry you're looking for, the decision makers in that industry? So you can use it to ask questions. How do I go about doing this? Or why is this important? You can use it to optimize. This is a big one. Improve this outreach email so it resonates more with marketing and sales leaders in commercial real estate. Why I like this is because I can just speak it how I want to say it. Then I can optimize it so it could sound for this particular audience. So as long as I know what I want to say, AI can do the rest. And the last is research and education. Research the biggest lead generation challenges facing the construction industry in 2025. So I can apply that for 2026. So research and educating yourself. So I would say if there was a place to start for me, this would be the main thing. Understanding that, yes, I need a large language model, but knowing that everything I'm going to do is pretty much one of these 8 things. So how can I improve my idea generation? How can I improve my optimization? How can I improve my summarizing, etc.?
And just looking at those, like there are some that seem really obvious, like, of course, I've got an opportunity come in. So I'm absolutely going to research that business inside and out, really understand them before I jump on a demo, pick up the phone. So the research side of things, I think, is already being actively used, but potentially the others are underused. I mean, I don't know what you see.
Yeah, when I'm working with sales, I find research and analysis are the 2, I would say, and optimization, I'll say they're the 3 that's probably the most used when I break down, if you go through their last lot of prompts, etc. But I think all of them are important. As I said, what you want to do is have that AI lens across your traditional sales. What is it that you're looking for, whether it be from lead generation to prospecting to presentation to closing? What does that look like? And how can one of these 8 or a mixture of some of them help you improve in that particular area? And I feel that is, as I said, they're the 3 that's probably used the most I've seen in sales recently, but all 8 are going to be important moving forward.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. I'm wondering if it's a trust or an understanding thing. I mean, ultimately, what sales need to do is they need to break down their day or their week and look at, okay, where could AI help me here?
Yeah.
But sales are known for being lone rangers. They just crack on, they just do it. So what do you think is getting in the way of us using or them using those other use cases?
For me, sales, 2 industries that I think mindset plays a big part: sales and recruitment. And it's very similar. Because, as you said, a lot of the people in sales, we're go-getters. It's like, okay, I don't have time to learn this. Well, I need to be on the call. I need to be on the phones. I need to be generating leads, or I need to be closing, etc. Sometimes it's nice, even if you can just take out 20 minutes or 30 minutes of the day just to learn these models, because what's going to happen is in the future, every part of sales is going to get easier. It's almost 100% going to happen. every single part of sales is going to get easier because of AI. Also, your productivity is going to be important because if used correctly, AI will help with productivity. Now, everyone is busy, but not everyone is productive. And for me, I'm all about being productive. So for one of the things that not sure if you know this, but I suffer from repetitive strain injury. So I have problems with the nerves in my hands. So I can't type. So I've had this since 2008. So for the last almost 15 years, I've been really focusing on ways to be productive. And when I started getting into AI in 2021, this was a game changer for me. I was like, wow, this changes everything. I can use my productive skills that can do all of the admin stuff so I can focus on sales. Or I can do all the admin stuff so I can focus on marketing. And I believe sales and marketing are like this nowadays. So this is what some of the things you want to do. You want to almost write a list of what you do on a day-to-day basis and what are the stuff you like doing, what are the stuff you don't like doing. Audit yourself and then say to yourself the important question, how can AI help me with this? Whether you say it to yourself or you put it into a large language model and say, how can you help me with this? So important, because ultimately what AI can do is buy you time. And if it's going to buy you time, you can focus on the things that you either like doing or good at doing, or reaching your goals, what you're supposed to do. So that's what I think is key, because working with sales and recruitment is that mindset shift.
Yeah, yeah. And there is, I think that hesitancy to incorporate AI, maybe not from an analytics perspective and a research perspective, but from a content creation perspective, because, salespeople are humans selling to other humans, and they think, oh, everyone's going to know it's AI and they're going to tell. So I don't want to do that to my customers. I don't think that is a good way to be efficient. How can we avoid that?
So here, again, very popular thing. This sounds like AI, and I'm sure some of you may have thought this. You've received emails from people or LinkedIn messages and said, oh, this is an AI writing this. I'm not going to respond.
Yeah.
However, when we talk about optimization, this is why it's important to know optimization, because how can you use AI to put the message out there with it sounding not like AI? And this goes down to what I think is one of the most underrated areas that most people are not doing. But if you can do this well, it's going to be one of the most important things for you to do. And that is train the model. You want to train these AI, you want to train these robots. And I would say right now, there's 4 ways you can train it. One, you can train each individual chat. So if you open ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini, whatever one you use, and you click new chat, right now, if you just typed in what are some of the best ways to generate leads on LinkedIn, right, doing that, it will just give you an answer. However, if you've trained the chat and you've said, from now on in this chat, I want you to write me case study presentations that I can use when I'm out with clients, everything in that chat will be based on that. So if I said generate leads on LinkedIn, put that in that chat, which I've trained on that particular subject, it will give it context, i.e. it will focus on that. And every single time I use that chat is going to be thinking that way. I can then have another chat that will say, right, from this chat, I want it to be optimized so it sounds like our tonality that lead forensics has. So we've got a particular personality. How does it sound? I also going to upload my emails, what one's worked, what one hasn't. I'm going to look at my sales calls, what one's worked, what one hasn't. Work out with all this information, the personality, describe it back to me. And from now on, when I put information here, whether you optimize it or summarize it, I want you to bring it back to me as if it's me. So this is called training an individual chat. It's just basically saying, when you open up a new chat, from now on, do this. And once you do that, it will save it to the memory. It will just focus on that. Then you've got custom instructions. Now, custom instructions trains the whole model. So if, for example, you said, from now on, it's usually in the settings, and you'll be under custom instructions. From now on, I want you to put everything in German, or I want you to put everything in Spanish or in whatever language, or I want you to avoid using M dashes. So M dashes, if you don't know, it's those long hyphens, which you can tell if someone's using AI because it's usually have those long hyphens. Don't include those. Custom instruction trains the whole model. So every single chat will be there. Now, you don't want to do something like make everything like a speaking based on our, like as if it's to a lawyer for custom instructions, because everything will be like that. So that's just more just general stuff. Then you've got projects. The best way to describe projects is folders. So imagine you've got one folder that's designed on a particular personality trait for a particular industry. So in that folder, all of your chats will be trained on that. So where the individual chats, it will be just one chat, you click new, it will be a new chat. In the folder, if you go into the folder, you put that chat in this folder and it will be trained on that. So if you're in the folder and you click new chat within that folder, it will automatically be there. So where individual chats is one thing, custom chats is everything, projects is specific chats that you put in a folder. And then the last one is GPTs, which is similar to individual chats, but it's more like an app. And this is where you can give it slightly more instructions. It's a lot easier to create a GPT, but you can also share that with other people. So it's like creating some form of app internally. So you might have somebody says, right, from now on, when it comes to emails, I want you to focus on this in email. And then you use that particular GPT. This is obviously branded for ChatGPT, but everything will be, if you're using that, will automatically be done. So someone, let's say, for example, in marketing might have created a GPT for you to use for email optimization for lead generation. So everyone can use that particular chat or GPT. So they're the 4 ways that you can train it right now, or the main 4 ways. And one thing I would say, especially now, you really want to train your models. It's one of, I would say, going back to where to start, I would say this is one of the other places to start as well. This is a foundational thing you need to do because it's that important if you want it to sound like you and you want to save a substantial amount of time.
Yeah, so it's almost like you're creating, whether you start off with chats and then you get to the point where you've got, you know, projects and really advanced GPTs, you're almost saying, what are all if I had a great bunch of interns or just really bright individuals around me, one was a content writer, one was an analyst, one was a PA, what would they do? And then you're training those.
Yeah.
So then it's about the input that you give those employees and those individuals, those chats, to make sure that they're prepared to, you know, create great email responses or copy for you to help you with your LinkedIn post, but also to create sales reports that you can give to your leadership team that pull out the right data and have the right tone of voice. So it is like building your own unique team around yourself.
Exactly. It's you've got your own sales team, which very, very smart, as in incredibly smart. They don't have holiday. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah. There's no politics. There's no office politics. There's no this agent or this AI doesn't like that AI. It's just like you've got your own sales team around you. So what are the things that you want as a salesperson? What are the key things that's going to help you? And that's the beauty of training the models. But as I said, 95% of people they don't train it, which means they're missing out on a huge part of the benefits.
Yeah, like you say, that it is, it's basically a choice between asking somebody new to do something every time or asking somebody that you've worked with and engaged with and trained and has helped now understands. It's so obvious when you think about it, but you can see why so many people are, like, you can definitely see the people aren't doing that. So obviously when we think of AI in sales, we typically think about the more advanced industries, so software, technology, sales that are maybe done completely digitally. But there are also lots of applications for AI in more traditional industries. So can you give us some examples of where we might use those?
So when it comes to AI in any industry, it's understanding, going back to fundamentals. So if I go to, let's say AI lens, here would be a good one. So what you've got here is, as I said, I like to put an AI lens across traditional sales. Now, if you look at traditional sales, you have something like this, a typical sales funnel, where regardless of the industry, you'll have, let's say, an event, and you've got some form of campaign, and you've got 10,000 eyeballs, whether it be an event where there's, say, 1,000 people. And then what will happen at that event, 1,000 people, you'll probably get, let's say, 100% closure. So that's buyers. And this is a typical sales funnel in every single part of the funnel. This is what we know as salespeople. This is what we live on. But the reality is the sales funnel looks like this now. And the reason it looks like this is because of the way the internet has gone. In the sense that you will still have this event with 1,000 people here. But now someone, a potential prospect, could be at home, but they're on their phone and they're seeing something that's happened on LinkedIn, a post that's on LinkedIn. Or their friend has sent them, taken a picture or something and WhatsApp them saying, have you seen this? So they don't actually have to be at the event to get into the funnel.
Yeah.
And what you've got now are two types of people that come out the other end. You've got a buyer and a contributor. A buyer is what us people in sales are interested in. How many people decided to buy the product or our services? A contributor, they might not buy they might not buy your service or product, but they will happily tell their friends. And everyone can get access to at least 1,000 people nowadays because of social media. Every organization needs both. Yes, the buyers keeps the lights on, but the contributors help with those things that's going to impact us indirectly. Perception, impact, trust, authenticity. All of these things that are soft metrics, and working in sales, we don't like soft metrics. But these are the things that's going to ultimately impact us, because we live in a world where trust is one of the most important factors now, because everybody's an expert researcher. They're going to research you and what you offer probably before the phone call. Just like when we go to the doctors, now it's a collaboration when we go to the doctors. We've researched our symptoms. We kind of know what we've got. Now we're saying to the doctor, but Google said this, or ChatGPT has said that. So it's a collaboration now. And people are going to do that. And you do that. Like everyone does that. They're going to research, especially if it's going to cost you a substantial amount of money or time. You're gonna research it. So because everyone is a good researcher now, so this is why I talk about sales and marketing working together, because it's really going to be important that every organization needs to be working on buyers and contributors, and AI sits across all of this. It almost doesn't matter the industry. Every organization will need buyers and contributors, because that's going to help the sales. And I've always said, if you look at a sales funnel where you've got awareness at the top and conversion at the bottom, the middle, rather than call it, say here, consideration, preference, action, and all of that stuff, I actually would just call that as trust. Okay. What can you do to build trust? Because we're all researchers. So what are you going to say that's going to make me like you? So it's going to get me to know you better, get you to like you, and get you to trust you. Because if I don't trust you, there's no point having a sales conversation. So that's really important. How can AI help with trust? This is why training the model, humanizing. Like for me, it's all about humanizing when it comes to sales. How can we humanize this? As a salesperson, people buy from people. So how can we humanize AI as well to help us? So it all goes back to the fundamentals of sales, which I've said many times: lead generation, prospecting, presenting, warming up leads, relationship building, closing. How does AI help across all of these things? And that's, for me, is really, really important.
Yeah. And you mentioned contributors. I mean, I always think of the decision, I think of the decision maker or the buyer, and then we look at like who influencers, who's part of that buying unit. But so then who are the contributors? Are they existing customers? Are they people who've evaluated your solution? And how are we harnessing them? with
Yeah, a
AI?
contributor. Yeah, a contributor could be anyone who either has tried your product, liked it, and want to tell other people about it. It could be someone who likes a piece of content and just click the share button. Anybody that could potentially get somebody that's creating awareness for you. So when it comes to media, there's three types of media. You've got owned media, earned media, and paid media. That's been around for many, many years. So it's a lot of it is earned media. So what we want to be able to do is, who are the people? How can AI analyze the people? This is where we talk about the analyzer bucket. How can AI analyze these contributors? What are they doing? What can I do to help them tell more people? How can I just even thank them? Just even a DM. You know what? I noticed you said this. Thank you. Yesterday, this happened to me yesterday. I posted something on LinkedIn. Somebody left a like. I emailed, no, they reposted it. I emailed, DM'd them on LinkedIn just to say thank you very much, and they said, "Oh yeah, I'm really getting into this AI stuff. I used to work at this big company. Now I've gone to this company, and my team needs training. Could you have a phone call about it?" So it's little things like that that's really going to help, and it's understanding how can I use AI in those buckets, those essential eight, and looking at ways that it can help for each part of what I'm doing. As I said, always have that AI lens across what you're doing in sales.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's talk about prompts.
Prompts, yes.
Prompts in B2B sales. What are some of your favorites, or what would you recommend for us
Sure.
to use?
All right, before I get into the prompts, there is something that I must tell you before you prompt, and that's this. Learn karate. So what do I mean by that? Or jiu-jitsu or any martial art. What do I mean by that? When it comes to martial arts, there's a belt system, and it usually starts off with white belts and it goes to black belts. And then you've got multiple belts in between. Let's say, for example, if you're a white belt, that's a beginner. That's what everyone starts at. And black belt means you're an expert. And then obviously the better you get, the different color belts you become. When it comes to prompting, I see it exactly the same. You've got white belt prompts, and a white belt prompt might be something like, I'm on a sales call and the prospect says, we already have a lead tracking tool. Give me 3 calm, confident responses that handle this objection well. It will give you 3 responses, but it might be quite generic because it doesn't know like who you are. It doesn't know what the prospect's challenges are. It doesn't say much other things. So it will give you a good answer, but it's a white belt answer. Black belt answer is where you go into detail. Explain to me why you're going to come up with these answers. Give me the depth of reasoning. What is your thought process? Really go into the detail of why. Because once you start going into different levels of prompting, plus training it, it won't sound anything like AI. It will just sound like you. That's extremely clever. I don't know if you've seen the film Limitless. There's a film Limitless with Brendan. Yeah, he takes the tablet and he opens up the other 90% of his brain. That's essentially what we've got. We've got that tablet here. So understand the belt system. Sometimes you do a prompt. Sometimes all you need is a white belt prompt. But don't be white belts forever, because everyone can catch up with you quick. That means everyone in sales is going to catch up with you quick. You want to be, okay, let's say if it was jiu-jitsu, blue belts, then purple, then brown, then black. But then, and this is what really makes a good martial artist a martial artist, they know when to use a white belt, self-defense, and different levels depending on who you're speaking to. So I kind of wanted to kind of get that across. Now, here's some prompts that I'm going to show you. None of them are white belts, by the way. So I'll explain why all of them work. Please think hard about this. You can do this experiment. Type in a prompt that you want an answer to. Then at the end of the prompt, do another one, the same exact words, but then say, please think hard about this. You will see the different levels. Because what you'll find is the machines they'll always give you an answer. Will never not give you an answer. But sometimes the answer is very basic. And then if you get it to think about it, it will start second guessing itself. It will say, actually, let me think about it. It's just like if you said to a child or an adult, you're sitting in front of, let's say, an intern, and you say, all right, well, how would you close this phone? How would you close this sale with all this information? And they're nervous, so they give you a quick answer. But if you just said, please think hard about this before you answer,
Take your
Then they're
time.
gonna, yeah, they're gonna take their
Yeah.
time and think. So that's why this is important. If you don't know, please state you don't know rather than guessing. This is so important.
Mm.
When it comes to asking questions, going to the 8 essentials, think asking questions and research and education. This is where they start hallucinating to an extent sometimes. If you've asked a very specific question, if you don't know, just say, if you don't know, please state you don't know. Because rather than, if you don't, it will just give you an answer. And you don't know if that answer is correct or not. So if you don't know, just state, I don't know. And what will happen here is it will say, I don't know, but I think it's this. And then when you do your research, wherever it says that, it's usually not 100% correct. So if I'm looking for something factual, so it might be statistics or whatever it may be that I'm going to take it or put in the presentation for a pitch or whatever it may be, I often say, if you don't know, please state you don't know rather than guessing. Very, very powerful prompts.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one here. Now, the bits in red, you can just take out for whatever, like you can change. That's just context. Imagine you're speaking to the CEO of a heavy machinery rental firm at IQ 160. So that means they're very clever. Draft a LinkedIn message, so a DM, referencing their asset utilization challenge. So obviously that's relevant to them, and how we reveal invisible buying signals. So obviously you could take out the red, but this is very specific. But what I want you to, the reason why I say imagine you're speaking to a CEO at IQ 160 is that person is clever. They understand waffle. They understand blagging. So it will make the machine think harder for the answer.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. It will give you an answer. Don't copy and paste it. This is where you want to start adding in your stuff, or you might ask questions back, or it might not be relevant, try again, or things like that. But it gives you a starting point. Another one, explain this topic at 3 levels: beginner, intermediate, expert. This has helped me so many times if I'm trying to learn something. Explain it to me as if I was a beginner. All right, I get it. Now explain to me with a bit more like oomph. Okay, how does an expert see this?
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially working in particular industries, especially the B2B industries that you work in, you might be dealing with experts in their field. So explain this topic, yeah. Or if they've responded back with something and you're like, what does that mean? Then you can say, right, what does this mean as a beginner level or intermediate level or as an expert level? So you can start using the language that they're using. But you don't have to worry unless you're on the phone with them. But if it's just over text message, you can always go away and research that as well. The last one I'll say is walk me through your thinking on why this sales deck might fail. So you've got a sales deck, you say who it's going to, give them a bit more context, why this might fail. I always look for why it might fail rather than why it might succeed, because I want to know if it's talking about failing, these are going to be some of the objections that they're going to likely have, which I can kind of preempt beforehand.
Yeah.
So this is another one that I use quite. This is analyzing. This is still in the analyzing bucket as well. So I'll say these are just some of the ones.
They're great.
The whole podcast could be just based off of this. Yeah. But they're just some of the key prompts. Try them. Really, just give it a go. You can do these on any plan, whether it be a free plan or a paid for plan. Try them, and then you start noticing some of your prompts are going to be tweaked, which means you're getting up the belt system.
Yeah, that's it. And just some of them are so simple, like the please think hard about this one, you know, that already you've got an edge. So yeah, some great stuff that people can take away and start to use now. So this is where we are in AI or generative AI for sales today. What do we need to think about? I mean, it's moving really, really fast, right? What's next? Yeah. What do we need to be looking out for? What do we need to be prepared for as salespeople of the future?
Okay, so let's look at next steps. Now, I would say one of the biggest things that you're going to come across, if you haven't come across it already, is AI agents and automation. Now, if the large language models like ChatGPT, etc., they give you answers, AI agents will give you action. So when it comes to some of the prompts that we're putting in, it's going to give us answers. But let's say, for example, the one about the sales deck, not only would it give you the answer, it will then go out and change the whole deck for you and then say, right, here is the deck with all of the changes made. So that's what AI agents are going to do. There's actually one that goes in the middle. So you've got large language models, then you've got automation workflows, and then you've got agents. And a lot of people think automation workflows is agents, because automation workflows this is where there'll be sites like Zapier. So for example, if I've got this keynote, I've delivered a presentation to somebody over Zoom or Teams, and it summarized it in Fathom or Otter or any of those note-taking things. I can set up an automation that takes that information, puts it into my CRM. My CRM will update automatically, and then it will give me information of next steps to do. That's an automation flow, which means if anything in this 5 or 6 steps breaks, the whole thing breaks down.
Right.
Agents will get to, let's say, 3 or 4 of them that's worked. Then the 5th one breaks down. It will work out what to do next. Where automation will just, it's either working or not. Yeah. And if it's broken, you'll just go in and fix it. Agents will then say, actually, because of this, and I know that because of their diary, this is going to happen. He can't do that or she can't do that then. So let's change it to then. So agents are going to be more like a human, like a real human that's thinking. So that is going to be a big thing moving forward. Remember what I call the PIT. So actually, quickly, I'm just going to quickly go back to agents because this is something to consider. The browser wars right now. So right now you've got ChatGPT launched something called Atlas, which is a browser. And browser essentially is how you get onto the internet. Chrome, Safari, back in the days you had Internet Explorer, Netscape, some of you may remember, but that's how you get onto the internet. There's going to be a war for that because Chrome has dominated for the last 10 years at least, which overtook Firefox. Now, the reason why there's a new war going on is because AI agents or agentic, that's another word that you hear. So I can, if I wanted to book something on Airbnb, I could get my agent. So I could go to my browser and then just get my agent to book me something or connect with these people on LinkedIn. So I can have 5 or 6 tasks going all at once with agents, which then allows me to be doing my sales calls, whatever it may be. Here's the challenge for us. If we're going to get to a point where the agents are going to be on browsers and humans not as much, how does it affect advertising? How does it affect tracking on your website? Because what's going to happen is it's not people, it's agents. Well, so does that mean as what we do as an organization, what we're selling, does that change? So this is something to consider. You know, marketers, they've got to consider it. Salespeople's got to consider it. Whoever is head of digital, they've got to consider it. All of these things is going to impact us. So agents might sound good on one side, but just beware of the other side, how it can affect our business.
Yeah, yeah.
So remember PIT. So PIT, this is one of the fundamentals. So PIT stands for 3 things. P is the prompt, and I've kind of gone into that already. But what I think is more important than the prompt is your imagination. Where do you even start? If you're telling me, Andrew, there's these things called agents, and agents can just do anything, and you're saying I can create an agent because you don't even need to code to create this. Imagine if we're in a workshop right now, and I said, right, got 20 minutes, create an agent, go. Where do I even start? Like, what do I actually need? How am I going to prompt this? What does it look like? What's the actual functionality? Just like if I said, right, you need to do rather than do a sales deck, I want you to create a video of that will help you that you can show clients. Go. Where are we going to start? What does it look like? What's the storyline? Is it going to be like some form of conflict? Like all of these. And this is why your imagination plays a part. Going back to mindset, and when I talk about sales and mindset, this is where imagination plays a big part because you can do anything. We're at the point now as salespeople that technology is caught up with our ideas. Anything we can imagine, we can pretty much create now. So that's why I talk about imagination. And the T stands for tools. Because once I know the prompt, once I know how to, like my imagination, what tools do I use? So that's another thing that for salespeople, prompt, imagination, and tools.
Yeah.
But ultimately, nothing has changed, really. And what I mean by that is you're still going to have something to sell. You're still going to have to sell it somewhere, and you're still going to have to sell it to someone. That hasn't changed.
Yes. Yeah.
What has changed is people's behavior and technology, and they're the things that change all of the time. And that's up to us as salespeople to stay up to date with all of that. But we're in this golden era right now. Right now, I've been working in digital since 2001, full time. I have seen a golden era probably 3 or 4 times in 25 years working in this space. And a golden era is when I can go from here to here quickly. Mm-hmm. Google AdWords, that was one, and Google search, that was one. I would say the beginning of social media, like the MySpace, the YouTube, that era that created the influencers that we kind of see now. Then you got like the Instagram, TikTok era, and now this. Like this is it. Take advantage now, because this era, it's like this every day. I say we've got 12 to 18 months. And then when you use ChatGPT or Copilot, there's going to be an ad. So what do you trust? You know, when the government's going to start trying to put rules and regulations in this space. What used to be free now cost £100 a month. What used to be £20 a month is now £2,000 a month. So this is why learn it now. Don't play catch up, because catch up's going to cost you a lot of time and money.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is, you know, it's authentic, it's fresh, it's free. Like, you know, there's and it's the prime time for us, if we're going to stay ahead in our careers, to get our understanding straight before it takes twice as long for us to get that understanding, because we're constantly being interrupted.
Exactly.
Andrew, thank you so much. I mean, like the prompts, the 8 use cases, like there's just some really good insight in there that our audience can take away. So thank you for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
No, thank you. And if you want to stay up to date with everything, a few things. So Kirsty mentioned that I have a podcast. So I do a daily podcast, which is only 10 minutes. So if you're like me, you listen to stuff twice the speed. So it's 5 minutes a day, and it looks at AI. So just focused on one particular area. So every other week I do one which is based on prompts. So if you like the prompts that I talked about, every other week I do prompts. I do tools on certain days. I do like AI news as well. The other thing I have is a WhatsApp broadcast list. So what it is that if you sign up to this, every day I give you, just once a day, the up to date what's going on in the world of AI, for you to kind of stay up to date with things. Because I've worked in digital for a long time. I've never seen anything as quick and fast moving as AI. It's changing all of the time. So if you want to stay up to date with it, feel free to use WhatsApp. And also, again, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well, if you have any other questions.
Yeah, no, I'm sure many of our audience will. And, you know, if they're looking for training, then this is the place to go. Thank you again. And I'm sure we will have you on again, because things are going to change overnight, and there'll be so much more to learn.
Definitely. So many more things to learn. And as I said, in 3 months, it's going to be a different world. So things are constantly updated. But thanks for having me.
Pleasure.